Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be making a horror track that has the intention to make you jump. Let's dive in. I'm making another sort of horror bed, and this one is slightly different. It's not necessarily just a horror bed to imply a mood, it's a horror bed that also needs to have elements of scare and sudden sounds to make you jump. So there's two elements that are working here. The first one is a tense bed. I don't mean, that you lie on, a tense sound bed. And the second element is sudden sounds that make you go, ugh. And there's a mixture of different types. But first of all, let's talk about the tense sound bed. Now, you've got to visualize what this is. This is the family's just moved into a haunted house. The young daughter is left alone in the house for the first time. She's, just sort of scrolling around on her phone. All of a sudden she hears some noises. She looks and, it's getting dark. So she starts to walk around the house as it gets dark. And it's getting darker and darker. And we want the music to tell the listeners something's not quite right. Okay? So usually just a simple drone. But that type of drone isn't exactly right. You kind of want to bring some dissonance to the drone. So let's just get this drone going. So I'm going to go in the key of D. There we go. Right, we're going to lay down the bass drone first. This is going to be kind of about maybe 90 seconds long. Because, these type of scenes aren't hugely lengthy. Well, unless it's a really massive house that she's walking around. Okay. So there's the low drone. And now let's just copy and paste this. I'm going to keep that octave. And I'm going to throw in I quite like that. Oh dearies, there we go. Right, now let's just move this down and move this one. How is this? Is this better? There we go. That's a bit better. Now I'm just going to bounce these in place because I like to work with audio, and it just kind of feels a little bit more straightforward, especially when we're dealing with this type of stuff. I'm going to slide that down there. I'm going to bounce that in place. Did that even bounce in place? That's what I want to know. It did. Woohoo! Okay, there are our audio tracks so far. Okay, so we're going to start with the high tense drone first. It's not necessarily going to come in straight away. It's going to fade in. Okay, a little bit loud. Okay, now another thing you can do is utilize articulations in your drone. So you can utilize tremolos. So that's where the string player sort of rubs the bow back and forth on the string to make this kind of like effect. So let me see if I can load up a tremolo effect. Strings. Let's go into symphonic. Have I saved a trem patch? I probably haven't because, oh, there we go. Trem sol pont. So sol pont means sol ponticello, which means close to the bridge, which means it's quite a brittle sound, which is actually quite perfect. Okay, so where was I? That's actually pretty good. I'm going to keep this sort of D, E flat sound going on. I'm going to drop it down an octave. Okay, so let's balance that in place. Now, it's actually really, really helpful for you to know your string articulations at this point, because that way, when you're looking for the parts you want, you know what to look for. So, for instance, when we come up to the scare moment, it's good to know that a Bartok pizzicato is actually a really great sound for that kind of like sound. So, see already, what's that noise? Did you guys hear that? Just my imagination. Right, so I want to get those kind of jump moments in. The tense drone doesn't need to be doing much, because it's just there to be like, literally, a tense drone, and that's it. So let's start thinking about these jump moments. So you can sort of throw in some shorts going, I mean, it sounds a bit cheesy, which isn't a bad thing. I don't want the Spitfire Celeste. Let's remove you. I want Bartok pizzicatos. Thank you very much. So let's load up Kontakt and do this the slow way, which is great for you guys who are watching, of course. Now, strings, I wonder. See if Jaeger's got... Oh, there it was. Haha. Full ensemble. Bartok pizzicato. See? They know. Perfect. That's what we want. You hear that? It's got the sound of a hit as well as the kind of like the kind of brittleness of pizzicato. It's great. I mean, actually, I might layer that up. Let's call that Jaeger Bartok. After Bela Bartok, who kind of popularized that type of pizzicato. So let's talk now about another library. Let's go for... I'm pretty sure they do. I want to get some bass, just some bass, just looking for the Bartok pizzicato. There we go. That's a bit more meat on the bones there, which is what we want. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to play in. That's all I'm going to stick to a D and an E flat. Might even. No, D and E flat. Cool. There we go. Remember, this isn't the real scare. This is the you thought something was there type of scare. So there is a difference. This is like the practice scare. So this is the kind of like you thought it was there, but actually it was the cat. You know, what was that movement in that room? It's okay. It was the cat. But we still get the scare, you know. And sometimes the technique here is after you've done the drone, is to leave quite a gap, which I quite like. So let's bring in the Jaeger Bartoks as well and layer these up an octave or two. As well as, there we go. So I don't think I need them up high. Cool. Okay. So this is it at its simplest. But what we're going to now do is we're going to just randomly chuck one in there, and then we're going to work towards something, which is the final scare, which will be at bar 45. So what we're going to do is we've got a straight up boom to surprise you. We're going to do a medium shock, and then we're going to do the big beastie, the big one. And this is the trick here. can go one of two ways. It goes either complete out of the blue, or you build to it. And that is what we are going to do. Because what you want to do is kind of just say, look, we want you to know that something awful is coming. So we want you to anticipate it and start to get scared before it happens. Okay, so what I'm going to do is find my sounds, my risers, my... no, not those ones. Where have I put them? They're here somewhere. I'm sure they're in sounds. Screams. Ooh, screams. That's funny. Funny I found out that's my daughter and some friends. We did this for a horror track. Works really well. In fact, actually, I might use that. I think for the Girl Scream 01, that's a definite must. What we'll do is we won't take the initial. We'll chop it in. So it's just like a little bit like that. Oh damn! This is just for fun. Scream. See, this is what I love about doing this stuff. It's you stumble upon these wonderful things and you go, oh, actually that works brilliantly. I didn't actually plan that, just in case you're thinking Rich blatantly planned that. Oh, that's right, I've got so many blooming there we go, string effects. Let's go for, we're going to bring in a couple of risers here. These are all orchestral string risers. We're going to do the trem one. We're going to do the sol pont one, which if you remember is sol ponticello, which means close to the bridge. It's a bit brittle. This one is a long riser. These ones are more kind of like rips. And a rip is like a fast riser, basically, to finish the job, as it were. Not like that. Yeah, that's cool. This is going to sound... It might sound comedy. Right. No, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want it... Oh, blimey. RP shorts. That's an essay I've written about wearing shorts. It's not really, don't worry. I think it's just a list of ideas for short form videos, which I plan to make, but obviously I get too excited about these long form videos because they're so fun to make. Right, I'm going to do this, chop, drag, duplicate, chop. So this is the one thing I like about using a long riser, is that you can get this kind of built up effect through multiple risers. I'm going to give them all like this, like this, like this, like this. So it should okay, cool. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these guys short. Boom, RP shorts. Let's just give them a little small fade out like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck this scream into a really long reverb because we're building into this moment. And I kind of want it to be, oh, hi, little plate, little guy or girl, little girl. Sounds weird. So let's bounce that in place. We're going to use it in two ways. We're going to use that as the job is done. And then we're going to bounce that in place. Girl scream. Oh, blimey. Nope. Oh, blimey. Nope. Girl scream rev. There we go. In which case I'm going to unmute. Oh, no. I'm going to unmute that. I'm going to go into this one and obviously reverse it. And just bring it in here. So it's I'm not going to have the full on scream because we want to keep that kind of like a secret for the last bit. Great, and we can use that again here. Let's see how this works here as well. This might just not work at all, but it's, you know, it's worth trying out. Yes, there we go. So let's think about this a little bit more. We've used pizzicato, and remember this is kind of a horror bed to make you jump. So we've got the tension going on. And we also want to fall into other kind of like typical things in horror. And one of them is... This is making me feel really tense. Oh, there we go, it's waking me up. One of them is to utilize... Col Legno. Thank you very much, Richie. Col Legno, which is when you tap the violin or the string instrument with the back of the bow, with the wood of the bow. And let me show you how it is used in horror stuff so often. Let's first of all load up a symphonic strings. This is where I go, oh, I haven't loaded up. Okay, let's just load up a pizzicato and then go into the patch. Okay, so I want to load up, ooh, blimey, here you go. Nope. Close. I should have just gone the quick way, shouldn't I, really? There we go. Spitfire, symphonic strings. Now we want not sol pont, because that's close to the bridge. We want Col Legno. Short Col Legno. There it is. Replace, please. Okay, good. It's those creepy spiders again, which we need. Let's just check and put this... as far away as possible. Good. Okay, now this is kind of just to like give you the shivers, basically, to give you this sense that something creepy is going on. You don't really know what it is, but you know it's not right. Console 1 again. Gotta fix that. Right, there we go. I don't want it to be a completely wet mix, and we're going to shove that volume up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to try this. All chromatic. Great. Okay, so we've got this first movement, which is a descending movement. I think it could probably end there, actually. And then we have this other one, which is like this. Basically just random clusters. Awesome. Random clusters, which work really well. Now let's just layer in a couple of other things here. It's really cheesy, but it really works. It's a cluster of D, E flat, E, F. So 4 semitones played together. Awesome. Where's it hit? There we go. Boom cha. Right, this is going to be super loud. Because I don't want it to be super loud. I want it to be an aspect of the hit. Okay, perhaps we'll chuck that back in again there. And what you can do here as well is you can actually bring in a rhythmic element. A pulse. Let's try it. Just to give it a little bit more interest. And then I'm going to speed up a little bit. Cool. Let's bounce this in place because actually I really like that. And I want to use that up here as well. There we go. Right, I'm also going to bring in a sub element, which is actually, I think, actually really, really important. It's not necessary. It doesn't add a huge amount, but it just kind of brings us down into something else. This is brutal basses. Let's go. I don't want it to move a lot. That's the one. Right. Let's give it a go. I'm going to put it in from around about here. See how long it goes for. Okay, it's only that long. The unfortunate thing about those basses is you do need to repeat them. So let's bounce it in place. Boom. I know my session's getting a bit messy, guys. I know you're thinking, Rich, what are you playing at, man? Like, tidy this up. But, you know, I'm working on the fly. Working on the fly. Right, I'm just doing this so that it crossfades into one another. So we get this kind of continual drone. Let's chop that bit off. Shove that there. Actually, I might not need that one. And then just fade this one in. So. Yeah. Okay, right, now we're going to add some special sauce, which is my own very personal riser instruments. Which I have released through my Inventive Instruments. I think it's available on my website too, but I really should know that, shouldn't I? Amateur. Okay, Schreiber samples, irrelevant these days. So I've got string risers tremolo. So this was a string orchestra we recorded. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I use it all the time. As an element, not as a feature. Something is going terribly wrong. Terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. Okay. Right, we could make that hit a little bit more impactful, and I'm just going to bounce this in place. Boop. And now I'm going to do the octave up as well, because I want to have both that octave and that octave rising together. Sweet potato pie. Right, here we go. Let's have a look at these. Cool. And when does it end? It ends there. So actually, that works out really well. Let's just chop that and chop that. Delete, delete. And we can fade this in a little bit more. Don't want it to be a massive, massive feature. I actually want to hear this a little bit more. Quite enjoying hearing this. See what it sounds like with just that one. Oh, I really like this. I think it sounds great. Now I want to bring in another instrument. I've talked about so tremolo, sol ponticello, col legno, Bartok pizzicato. Now we're going to bring in the piano, our old favourite, the piano. But it needs to be a certain type of piano. Short, sharp, and nasty, basically. So let's go to, is it percussion? Yeah, Drake piano. I think it's this one. No, that's not the one I want. Where am I thinking? This is going to annoy me a lot. Orchestra, is it in here? No. Now where is that? Oh, it's Spitfire, isn't it? It's Spitfire Albion. Yes, how can I forget? Here it is. It's this old piano. I'm going to add this to these chappies. So where are you? You're there. I think I created a new instrument. And let's see what this... There we go. I love this piano. It's great form. Sort of Danny Elfman. Lovely kind of like Men in Black style stuff. Let's hear that. I can't quite hear that enough. Let's bring up the volume. Pop up the volume to 12. That's a bit louder. That's what we want though. I want to compress it so that we get a little bit more of the tail end of it. Limiter on. Where are you? I'll find it. There we go. So here we go. You hear that kind of like really lifts it that little bit more. I'm just going to chuck it on the very end. Very end. There we go. Right, actually I'm just going to chop that a little bit because it takes a while for it to kick in. Boom. Let's do that. There we go. Awesome. So how are we doing thus far? We've got our tense drone. Now remember, this is more of a sound bed. It's not like an action trailery thing. It's not a production queue in the sense of it's very structured. It's serving a very specific purpose of kind of getting you a bit freaked out and a little bit unnerved. Great. I think I might actually fade this in a little bit more. Yeah. Let's turn this down. I want it to be a part of it. What you can do is not necessarily have the hit at the very last. So you go. I like that. I'm going to cut this short and cut that short so it's like a dead stop basically. Fade out. It's 1. Let's try that again. Oh, that's cool. I want to hear this beforehand, though. I think I'm tempted to put this here because I feel like it's kind of needed. Let's move to playhead. There we go. Now, what we'll do with this is we're going to pitch shift this. You can do a couple of things. You can either EQ it or pitch shift it. So maybe I'll EQ it actually. That's better. So it's just a kind of like mild reflection of what's to come. Maybe we'll put this here actually. Maybe we won't have the screaming. So it's a bit more of a sudden thing. Yeah, that's better. That's what you want. And here, that's where we'll bring in the scream just a little bit, but we won't have it for so long. Maybe two bars or so. Remember, this is the cat. We're opening the door. It's a cat. Huh. And it's not a bad thing to let people know about these jumps or anything like that. It's actually quite good because, like I said, it gets people a bit scared. There are other things you can add to this, like human breaths, for example. So as part of my... one of the things I've produced is this Spiritus breath sample pack, which is kind of focused around that. Which you can just literally drag and drop, and it kind of brings in that kind of like creepy human elements to it. Mouth click. Suck back short. Let's do a suck back on this one. Turn it down. Where am I? Impacts. These are all wet actually, aren't they? So we can try it dry. Like that. Creepy breath coming in. Stuff like this. Human breaths are, for some reason, exceptionally freaky. I think it's, this idea that actually what scares us most is other humans. Cool. Then we've got the soft breath. Kind of a strange little click. Oh, that was very quiet. Let's put it there. That's the other thing as well, like found sound shoved in a hallway just works beautifully, just like that mouth click. Right, I think I've had enough of your time. No, I haven't had enough of your time. I think I have taken enough of your time showing you this stuff today. So the things to take away from this are long, dissonant drones using articulations like Bartok pizzicato, col legno, tremolos, sol ponticello, using the human voice for extra syncs, like the girls screaming, the kind of like soft breaths, the mouth clicks, using risers, and thinking in terms of visuals, what you're seeing, what's going to be happening, etc., etc. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I'll see you in the next one.